pray that those deaths will be the last.
The CDC shows a record number of measles cases nationally for a second straight year, with 2,700 cases reported across 45 states. Health departments reporting that the vast majority of cases involve those not vaccinated. In Texas, the father of slain high school track star Austin Metcalf is speaking out in an ABC News exclusive interview on his son's killer making a bid for a new trial. Carmelo Anthony was convicted of fatally stabbing Metcalf during a track meet last year. A judge rejected the defense request for a retrial. ABC's Aaron Koturski sat down with Jeff Metcalf and asked what he made of the verdict.
Did you get justice?
No. There's no such thing. I got handed a life sentence. We don't ever get to see Austin again. We don't get to talk to him. We don't get to hug him.
Carmelo Anthony was sentenced to 35 years in prison. There could soon be a quicker way to get around L.A. An air taxi will be hovering around the city during the 2028 Olympics. Once approved by the FAA, it will fly between downtown L.A. and several other locations. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
This is the News Radio KONP Noon Report.
Soundworth live from the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening on this Tuesday, August 25th. Clallam County says there's a sizable gap between the amount of affordable housing it will need in the coming years and the money available to help build it. The issue came up as county commissioners reviewed the housing portion of an update to the county's comprehensive plan. The county is required by the state to plan for enough housing to accommodate future growth at a range of income levels. But county staff estimates meeting the needs of households making less than 80% of area median income would leave an annual funding shortfall of about $8.2 million. Community Development Director Bruce Emery talked to commissioners about that yesterday.
We have a shortfall, an annual shortfall of about $8.2 million in meeting everything below the 80%. Now, some of that will be cost offset by the renters, but a lot of that, the lion's share, are the cost burden who simply can't afford and need NGOs to actually build supplemental housing.
The county's analysis uses a State Department of Commerce estimate of about $367,000 to develop each housing unit. Commissioners question how realistic the long-term housing targets are without significantly more money to support construction. The comp plan can make sure enough land is available and properly zoned for housing, but commissioners acknowledged that's only part of the equation. The county would still need developers, higher household incomes, and substantially more public or private investment to turn that capacity into actual homes. Commissioners are continuing their review of the comp plan ahead of a public hearing that's planned for late September. Washington state officials say they will continue fighting proposed federal changes to mail-in voting following a U.S. Supreme Court ruling on Monday. The court's majority allowed the Trump administration to move forward for now with an executive order affecting how the Postal Service handles mail ballots. The justices said Washington and 22 other Democratic-led states likely lack legal standing to block the order at this stage. However, the court did not decide whether the changes themselves are constitutional. The order calls for new requirements for mail ballot envelopes, including unique barcodes, and directs states to provide voter names and addresses to the Postal Service. Washington Governor Bob Ferguson said the changes could disenfranchise voters and interfere with state elections. Attorney General Nick Brown said his office is prepared to take more legal action, while Secretary of State Steve Hobbs called the requirements an unconstitutional intrusion into Washington's election system. The dispute comes as elections officials prep for the November 3rd midterms. More challenges to the federal requirements are expected in lower courts. Western Washington could be headed for a warmer fall and winter as El Nino continues to strengthen in the Pacific. The latest seasonal outlook calls for above-average temperatures and below-average rainfall from September through November, potentially extending the region's wildfire season. This winter, the Pacific Northwest is expected to remain warmer than normal, while precipitation could be closer to average. The pattern could also contribute to another below-average mountain snowpack, and if that happens, it would mark the 5th consecutive year of below-normal snowpack in the Northwest. More news after this.
Losing a loved one is overwhelming. Your mind and your heart shut down.
That's where Drennan and Ford Funeral Home and Crematory comes in. They took the burden off my family's shoulders and guided us through everything we needed to do. No pushy sales tactics or unanswered questions. They just held our hands and took care of everything we asked. That's why I will always recommend Drennan and Ford for end-of-life decisions. They handle the hurt like no one else can. Call 360-457-1210.
Olympic Game Farm is the place for you. Better than the circus or a day at the zoo. There's llamas and there's lions and a race for you. Olympic Game Farm is the place for you. Say hello to a buffalo, stick out his tongue. This place is just amazing for the old and the young. These zebras or a tiger might catch your eye. They've even got a bear who'll wave goodbye. It's so much fun, so bring your dad and your mom. Look us up at onlygamefarm.com.
Looking for a sparkling diamond or a timeless piece that steals the show? Discover Caviar Jewelry, proudly celebrated as a top-rated jewelry store in Clallam County on Google. Your neighbors love us for our friendly service, custom designs, and expert in-house repairs. Sharon, the owner, has a remarkable resume of jewelry industry background and education. Don't wait for a special day. Make today special. Visit Caviar Jewelry on East Highway 101 in Port Angeles.
In other news, there's a new sports bar in Port Angeles, and it brings with it a new modern concept in beverage service that potentially leaves the traditional beer flight sampler in the dust. The Tapery and Grill at the Port Angeles Wharf is a concept of property owner Eric Marks, who launched a soft opening last week. It has what you hope to see in a sports bar, with banks of TV screens featuring an emphasis on Northwest teams, and there's a full family-oriented menu of classic pub food featuring house-smoked meats that Mark says follows his vision of a gourmet sports bar with reasonable pricing. But really brings the Tapery into the 21st century as the beer tap concept. Until now, pouring or refilling your own beer glass in a bar would get you bounced to the curb, but not at the Tapery. That's expected. Here's Marks explaining.
These are self-serve taps. So when a customer comes in and checks in at our hostess desk up front, they're given a wristband. That's an RFID band. And then with that, they can walk up to the taps and pour themselves an ounce of beer or 12 ounces of beer, finish it, and come back and get some more. So people really enjoy it. They get to taste a variety of beers, get to drink at their own pace, and probably best of all, you don't have to wait for a bartender for your next beer.
Currently 30 beer taps available, plus a selection of wines, kombuchas, and ciders and more. They're all priced by the ounce, ready to put self-restraint to the test. Marks proudly left us with a last word for anyone who used to frequent a previous tenant in that spot.
A little thing, but really important, is bathrooms. Smuggler's Landing didn't have any bathrooms. We built bathrooms, and they're built really well. So I'm actually very proud of the bathrooms that we put in this restaurant. Because personally, when I go a place, I feel like bathrooms are second thought. But in reality, every customer uses them every visit.
About 150 people will hit the Olympic Discovery Trail for a 3-day journey this week, aimed at showing that the outdoors can be accessible to everyone. The annual Sea to Sound event covers 74 miles, with participants traveling by wheelchair, bicycle, hand cycle, and other adaptive equipment. Organized by Ian's Ride, the event brings together people with and without disabilities, with a particular focus on those living with paralysis and other mobility challenges. Now, it's not a race. Instead, participants travel the trail together, supported by volunteers providing aid stations, shuttles, equipment charging, mechanical help, and meals along the way. Ian's Ride's executive director, Ian Mackay, says one of the highlights is watching participants accomplish something they may not have thought was even possible. The 3-day journey also serves as a demonstration of how trails and outdoor recreation can be designed to accommodate people of all abilities. They will roll off on the trail beginning August 27th. Washington cattle producers criticizing President Donald Trump's plan to temporarily allow more tariff-free ground beef imports. The president announced Friday the U.S. will permit up to 300,000 tons of ground beef to enter tariff-free for 90 days. He says the agreement will lower consumer prices while allowing the domestic cattle herd to rebuild. But Washington Cattle Feeders Association Executive Director Jack Field says the imports could hurt ranchers as they prepare for a key late summer sales period. The nation's cattle herd is currently at a 75-year low. This is News Radio KONP.
Welcome to Volunteer Spotlight, sponsored by Jim Hagwood, Port Angeles Realty. This is Alan Barnard, and this Volunteer Spotlight shines on the Kiwanis Club of Port Angeles, a local volunteer organization founded in 1921. Kiwanis is an active club that regularly supports youth services and other local agencies that support our community. These include the Salvation Army, the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club, the Key Club, and so many more. The Kiwanis also provides $15,000 in scholarship funds to Port Angeles students each year. Their main fundraisers are hand-dipped ice cream bars, firewood, and the annual car show at the end of August. The Kiwanis Club meets at Joshua's each Thursday at noon. Everyone is welcome to come to the meeting and learn more. It's said that service is the rent we pay for our space on Earth, and that's why we do this Volunteer Spotlight, sponsored by Jim Hagwood at Port Angeles Realty.
Today on the Todd Ortloff Show, Ryan Shaftsma and Jason Hoffman give an update on their Squim Granary project and about bringing the 100-year-old building back to life. Then we'll talk to Cody Blevins about the history of First National Bank of Port Angeles.
Join us at 1 o'clock Monday through Thursday for the Todd Ortloff Show on KONP. Information to keep you engaged in your community with the people and organizations who keep it running. Sponsored by Dan Shappy, Farmers Insurance.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. Mainly sunny skies this afternoon, with daytime highs approaching 74. Winds out of the northwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows level off around 53. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Cloudy skies expected tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 65. Temperatures a bit below average Thursday and Friday, with highs in the low 60s. Rain showers likely Thursday, chance of rain on Friday. Taking a look at the extended forecast, 60 Saturday, 61 Sunday, and 61 on Monday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 68 degrees.
Three's a magic number. Good morning, I'm Jay Reynolds. Mariners have had a bumpy ride of late, but last night was an exception, thanks in part to Cal Raleigh. Swung on, crushed, right field. Has he done it again? It is gone! Cal Raleigh, his first 3-homer game of his career. Seattle Sports, 7:10 a.m., 17 homers on the season for Raleigh. Mariners get the win over the Phillies, 9-2, snapping Phillies' 9-game win streak. Seattle 3 games behind the Guardians for the final AL wildcard spot. Cleveland 4-2 over the Angels. Rangers pound the White Sox 11-2. Texas moving into first place in the AL West. Rays a 4-1 win over the Tigers. Detroit has lost its last 6. Boston rallies for a 4-2 win in Miami, their 16th comeback win since the All-Star break. Pirates outlast the Padres 3-2 in 12 innings. San Diego holding the final wild card spot in the National League, but Arizona's 2 games back. Diamondbacks shut out by the Cubs 7-0. Nationals 13-3 over the Rockies. Colorado's 7th straight loss. Twins get past the A's 9-6. Big night in the WNBA. Angel Reese 26 rebounds, setting the WNBA single-game record for rebounds. She also sets a new record for rebounds in a season as well. Dream beat the Sparks 78-71. Valkyries roll the Lynx 80-66. Minnesota held to a season low in points. We'll see how the season goes for the Cleveland Browns. Yesterday, they named Deshaun Watson as their quarterback, a stunner to many like ESPN's Mina Kimes.
I've watched every snap Watson has played since becoming a Brown, before the injury, and now in the preseason, and he is a shell of the quarterback he was early in his career.
Browns' first 2 games are on the road. Their first home game is week 3. Browns waiving tight end Daquan Wright, who's now planning to play for LSU if he clears waivers. The SEC saying athletes who choose to leave college and sign pro contracts shouldn't be permitted to play college. Swung on, crushed, right field. Has he done it again? It is gone! Cal Raleigh!
A huge night for Mariners catcher Cal Raleigh. He hit 3 home runs for the first time in his career in a single game, as Seattle hammered Philadelphia 9-2 last night. Series continues tonight, 6:40 first pitch. George Kirby taking the hill for the Mariners. For the Seahawks, the news is injuries, and they're piling up. Rookie safety Bud Clark suffered a broken ankle in Sunday's loss to Tennessee. He's expected to be out several months. Offensive lineman Mason Richmond also injured just days after receiver Jake Bobo suffered a season-ending knee injury. Washington Huskies have wrapped up fall camp and shifting prep for the September 6th Apple Cup. Isaiah Ward and Dylan Robinson among the players expected back after being held out late in camp. And big news at Washington State as its starting quarterback has been named. First-year coach Kirby Moore naming UC Davis transfer Caden Pinnock to be the starter. Pinnock threw for more than 3,200 yards and 32 touchdowns last season. Mariners and Phillies, 5:30 airtime this evening here on KONP, brought to you by Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales.
This is Ed from Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales. Our family has trucked hay to feed the hungry animals in western Washington for 4 generations. In that time, we have built a growing legacy of serving the needs of our customers, and we've never stopped. In 2014, we ventured into the equipment world by becoming a dealer and service provider for Mahindra tractors. Since then, we have partnered with quality brands such as Bad Boy, Aaron's Gravely, LS Tractor, Husqvarna, Snake River Trailers, and now Wacker Neuson Construction Equipment. We have a 3-bay shop where we not only service the brands we sell, but we also work on most major brands including Kubota, John Deere, and New Holland. We carry a wide variety of parts, filters, belts, and fluids. We have a fully stocked hydraulic shop and can build hoses for most machines while you wait. Chainsaw or weed eater needs some TLC, we work on small engines too. We even offer welding and fabrication services. We have been earning the Peninsula's trust for over 25 years with your animal's care, and we look forward to earning your trust with your equipment's care too.
News Radio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. More retailers, such as H&M, are cutting more plus-sized options from their inventory as more shoppers reach for GLP-1s. Companies aren't explicitly saying what's behind the shift, but industry experts are pointing to weight loss drugs for the drop in demand. According to research from PwC, around 21% of U.S. households include someone using a GLP-1. Meanwhile, some PepsiCo employees were notified that weight loss drugs will no longer be covered by their company's health insurance as of October due to skyrocketing costs. Those medications have become one of the fastest growing costs in the PepsiCo plans. That's according to an email sent to some employees. Apple just announcing its Mac Mini and Mac Studio desktop computers have been upgraded for the first time in around 2 years with new M6 or M5 Pro chips that deliver more storage and faster AI capabilities. Apple is also expected to shortly be sending out invitations for its iPhone launch presentation. Markets all in the green with the Dow and S&P up around 0.25%, while the Nasdaq has gained around 0.5%. Dan Schwartzman, Bloomberg Radio.
During our month-long Labor Day sale at Angelus Furniture, you can save up to $1,000 on Beauty Rest Black Hybrid Select mattresses and base sets. Rest in luxury in our most advanced and individualized mattress. You can also save up to $500 on the Beauty Rest World Class. Experience premier support plus motion separation. Get the refreshing sleep you deserve tonight on your brand new Beauty Rest. Only at Angelus Furniture, now through September 14th.
At McCrory Carpet One, they sell more than just carpet. If you walk on it, they carry it. Hardwood, laminate, vinyl, tiles, stone, and more. Plus, experience their award-winning installation service on everything they sell. Because McCrory's sells more flooring than anyone else on the peninsula, and Carpet One stores sell more flooring nationally than anyone, they can say always priced right and always done right. McCrory Carpet One.
KONP News Time's now 12:22. Truly a sad day today for fans of every genre of music, really, in the passing of Dolly Parton. We learned just an hour or so ago that Dolly Parton passed away at the age of 80, and I thought we'd play the Way the World Learned earlier today as Dolly's nephew, Brian Seaver, announced her passing on Instagram earlier today.
Hey, everyone. My name is Brian Seaver, son of Cassie Parton, and I'm representing the Parton and Owens family today, announcing the passing of my Aunt Dolly Rebecca Parton Dean, sister, sis, Aunt Granny to one generation and Gigi to the next. This video announcement is something Dolly asked of me years ago, before I fully absorbed it as a future reality. As her head of security for more than 2 decades, a role my father Larry held before me, I have imagined the heaviness of this moment, but haven't truly felt it until now. It is an honor that is mixed with absolute pride and great sadness. But sadness lies with us, not with Dolly. Dolly has lived in the light and is in the arms of Jesus, surely met by Carl, her parents, and countless others who have watched her and longed for her to meet them in the heavens. I first went on the road with Dolly as a kid, getting a taste of the road life in the early 1980s. Dolly opened doors not just for me, but for her entire family to reach the potential we didn't even know was possible. Dolly also opened doors for generations of singers, songwriters, musicians, and dreamers from every walk of life and across every continent. By her example, we believe that anything was possible. She never saw a door she couldn't open, and the doors she opened made and changed history. My family and I have shared a lifetime of beautiful memories with Dolly, but so have you. She has always been on your television, your record player, your CD, and on your phone playlist, becoming an extended part of your family whether you liked it or not. Our family and the team she has entrusted with her legacy will work diligently to ensure her spirit will live with us forever. Dolly was a farmer, just like her daddy. He farmed the soil, she farmed songs and happiness. Dolly called me and said she wants to rest in a beautiful bed of plush cotton because after a life wearing heavy rhinestones, she finally deserves to be comfortable and have some rest. Rest in peace, Aunt Dolly, Aunt Granny, Gigi. May God bless Dolly Parton, and may God bless you all. She will always love you.
Tough news today. Dolly Parton dead at the age of 80.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Quick question for the boy dads out there. Do you know what your son sees when he opens his phone? There's a good chance it includes a world now known as the manosphere. A recent survey by Common Sense Media found 73% of teen boys regularly come across this kind of masculinity-focused content that sometimes paints men as victims and women as the enemy. Now here's what struck me. Boys rarely look for it. They may be searching for workout tips or skincare, and the algorithm serves up the rest. Child psychotherapist Katie Hurley spent 6 months studying these spaces for her new book called Breaking the Boy Code. What she found underneath all that bravado was insecurity. Boys searching for belonging, purpose, mattering. The best thing you can do as a parent is then making time to listen without rushing to fix anything. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She could get a deal. Book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers!
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Hello, I'm Jerry Stewart, and this is One Moment in America. Whatever happened to the idea of self-reliance in America? Seeing something which needs to be done and doing it yourself? I'll tell you a story of self-reliance after this important message.
If you've been hearing my radio programs now for the last 20 years, you know that I've been telling the true stories of those who have followed God's ways to make America the greatest nation in the world. So what's the latest? Well, we're now doing this nation-saving work full-time, and we need your help by becoming one of our ambassadors, subscribing to All We Have for just $5.95 per month. To get what? Number one, full access to our amazing website that is full of over 100 true stories to teach us with these stories how America is to act and operate. We also have lessons for all ages to teach us what we must do now. And our children, they will be our nation's leaders very soon. I will have live presentations online for you to hear, maybe even to participate. And when must this all get started? Now. Call our offices today at 817-995-6965 or go to our website at www.jerrystewartusa.com and email our office. God bless you.
We have become a nation of people who rely on others to fix our problems. If in trouble, we call our state or federal government, but what about helping ourselves? A few years back, there was a small town in Texas running out of water, and very soon that town would literally dry up and die. They asked for help to run a pipeline, but there was way too much government red tape, and it slowed the process to a standstill. But then someone said, let's just build the pipeline ourselves. With their own dozers and tractors, they laid the pipeline themselves and saved their town. The word for today, self-reliance. I'm Jerry Stewart, and that was One Moment in America.
Caring for a loved one takes heart and sometimes a helping hand. Our Adult Day Stay program provides a safe, supportive environment with meals, activities, and on-site nursing care from just 30 minutes up to 10 hours with no minimum commitment for only $25 an hour.
Care for your loved one and peace of mind for you. This is Andy McGill, Executive Director at Dungeness Court Memory Care. Call 360-582-9309 to schedule a free assessment today.
Today on the Todd Ortloff Show, Ryan Shaftsma and Jason Hoffman give an update on their Squim Granary project and about bringing the 100-year-old building back to life. Then we'll talk to Cody Blevins about the history of First National Bank of Port Angeles.
Join us at 1 o'clock Monday through Thursday for the Todd Ortloff Show on KONP. Information to keep you engaged in your community with the people and organizations who keep it running. Sponsored by Dan Shappy, Farmers Insurance.
Wherever life takes you on the North Olympic Peninsula and beyond, take Radio Pacific with you. Download the free Radio Pacific app and listen live to News Radio KONP, Z104.9 Classic Hits, and the Straight 102 Country, all in one place. Stay connected with local news and your favorite music, plus you're eligible for exclusive discounts at local businesses. Everything you love about local radio, right in your pocket. Download the Radio Pacific app today on Apple or Android and take the North Olympic Peninsula with you.
We all know Jungle Jane's and Squim for those jaw-dropping greenhouses out front. But step inside and prepare to say, wait, this is in Squim? It's bursting with unique home decor, stunning lamps, kitchenware, and cozy pillows. Even local artisan creations. Whether your style is coastal, classic, or a little bit bougie, you'll find something fabulous to fit your vibe. Jungle Jane's. We are more than just greenhouses. We are home. Located on the roundabout by Costco.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. A sad day for country music fans around the country and music lovers of all kinds, as Dolly Parton, the beloved music and film star, known for her vibrant personality and poignant songwriting, has passed away at the age of 80. Her career spanned decades with hits like Jolene and I Will Always Love You. Born in Tennessee, she rose from humble beginnings to become a country music icon. The U.S. Supreme Court is allowing the administration to advance mail ballot safeguards. Correspondent Ken Lorman has an update.
The court declined to stop President Trump's executive order restricting mail-in ballot distribution. However, the justices did not rule on the order's legality, saying the 23 Democrat-led states and Washington, D.C. challenged it too early based on speculative concerns. The policy directs agencies to compile voter eligibility lists and requires the Postal Service to send ballots only to approved voters. The administration is moving quickly to put safeguards in place before the November 3rd elections. Ken Lorman reporting.
South Carolina voters head to the polls today to decide which Republican will be on the ballot in November. Congressman Ralph Norman says he can't understand why President Trump has chosen to invest so heavily into his opponent, Darlene Graham, the sister of former Senator Lindsey Graham.
Why? I don't understand him putting all this money into a race that South Carolina is going to decide. Why not put it in the races that are questionable, that they really need a conservative to keep the majority? I don't understand that.
Senator Lindsey Graham passed away earlier this year. Congressman Norman was interviewed by the Salem Radio Network. Despite ongoing tensions in the Strait of Hormuz, things are booming on Wall Street. Right now, the Dow is up by 155 points, and NASDAQ up by 152. More at townhall.com.
Full speed into summer, and if you're thinking about buying a home this year, here's what you need to do first. Get pre-qualified, not once you found the house, now before you even start looking. Here's why. In this market, houses sell in days, sometimes hours. The buyers who win aren't the ones with the highest offer. They're the ones already approved, ready to move, with a lender who can actually close. If you're not pre-qualified, you're a week behind. Maybe that house is gone. Well, I want to tell you about Fellowship Home Loans. For over 20 years, my friends Mike and Brian, guys that I've worked with, They've built Fellowship around one thing, getting loans done for real families with unique situations. They use programs and options that typical lenders don't take the time to explore. Down payment solutions that fit the way people actually live. Everything's done in-house, one roof, one team, all with a servant-led mentality. Get pre-qualified today. Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G or call 800-510-MIKE. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
President Trump now reportedly considering slapping China with a new tariff, punishment for China flooding the global market with underpriced goods.
Two people familiar with the matter say it may be a 7.5% levy. Administration officials believe the tariff will not disrupt a trade truce with China or the planned visit to Washington by Chinese President Xi Jinping. The U.S. Trade Representative's office has been overseeing investigations into China's excess industrial capacity. There's been no comment from either the White House or the Chinese embassy. Rich Thomason, Washington.
Canada struck back at the U.S. with retaliatory tariffs on about $20 billion worth of American goods. That includes steel, dairy products, appliances, and farm equipment. The announcement happened today as a trade war between the once friendly trading partners began to break down yesterday as President Trump called on Canada to comply with his demands. Breaking news at Town Hall. A once thriving farming community in the outskirts of Haiti's capital city is the largest target of gang violence now. Residents have even been attacked, their homes burned to the ground.
Wails filled the air in Konp as survivors found the bodies of friends and family strewn on the streets. One man flung himself on the side of the road and cried as people around him picked up bodies wrapped in blood-spattered sheets. Robert Jean says he heard shooting before dawn and tried to wake everyone up, only to find out his brother was killed. The mayor blames the attack on members of Vive Ensemble, which the U.S. government designates as a foreign terrorist organization. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Reduced credit 3-year bachelor's degree programs are rapidly catching on across the country. That is a solution to the college affordability crisis, especially for many adults. You'll find more on these stories at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Bob Agnew.
This is the News Radio KONP Noon Report.
Soundward live from the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening on this Tuesday, August 25th. Clallam County says there's a sizable gap between the amount of affordable housing it will need in the coming years and the money available to help build it. The issue came up as county commissioners reviewed the housing portion of an update to the county's comprehensive plan. The county is required by the state to plan for enough housing to accommodate future growth at a range of income levels. But county staff estimates meeting the needs of households making less than 80% of area median income would leave an annual funding shortfall of about $8.2 million. Community Development Director Bruce Emery talked to commissioners about that yesterday.
We have a shortfall, an annual shortfall of about $8.2 million in meeting everything below the 80%. Now, some of that will be cost offset by the renters, but a lot of that, the lion's share, are the cost burden who simply can't afford and need NGOs to actually build supplemental housing.
The county's analysis uses a State Department of Commerce estimate of about $367,000 to develop each housing unit. Commissioners question how realistic the long-term housing targets are without significantly more money to support construction. The comp plan can make sure enough land is available and properly zoned for housing, but commissioners acknowledged that's only part of the equation. The county would still need developers, higher household incomes, and substantially more public or private investment to turn that capacity into actual homes. Commissioners are continuing their review of the comp plan ahead of a public hearing that's planned for late September. Washington state officials say they will continue fighting proposed federal changes to mail-in voting following a U.S. Supreme Court ruling on Monday. The court's majority allowed the Trump administration to move forward for now with an executive order affecting how the Postal Service handles mail ballots. The justices said Washington and 22 other Democratic-led states likely lack legal standing to block the order at this stage. However, the court did not decide whether the changes themselves are constitutional. The order calls for new requirements for mail ballot envelopes, including unique barcodes and directs states to provide voter names and addresses to the Postal Service. Washington Governor Bob Ferguson said the changes could disenfranchise voters and interfere with state elections. Attorney General Nick Brown said his office is prepared to take more legal action, while Secretary of State Steve Hobbs called the requirements an unconstitutional intrusion into Washington's election system. The dispute comes as elections officials prep for the November 3rd midterms. More challenges to the federal requirements are expected in lower courts. Western Washington could be headed for a warmer fall and winter as El Nino continues to strengthen in the Pacific. The latest seasonal outlook calls for above-average temperatures and below-average rainfall from September through November, potentially extending the region's wildfire season. This winter, the Pacific Northwest is expected to remain warmer than normal, while precipitation could be closer to average. The pattern could also contribute to another below-average mountain snowpack, and if that happens, it would mark the 5th consecutive year of below-normal snowpack in the Northwest. More news after this.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. If it's showing signs of age, leaks, or storm damage, upgrade now with Tri-State Roofing. Use special promo code KONP50 and receive 50% off new gutters with your new roof, or 50% off a new skylight with your roof replacement. It's the perfect opportunity to improve your home's protection, beauty, and value while saving big. At Tri-State Roofing, we install quality roofing systems backed by expert craftsmanship and outstanding customer service. Our flexible financing options means the roof you need has never been more affordable. Call the local team your neighbors trust. 360-208-2222. That's 360-208-2222. Mention promo code KONP50 to receive 50% off gutters with your new roof, or 50% off a skylight with your roof replacement. Tri-State Roofing. Quality you can trust. Protection that lasts.
Tri-State Roofing. We got you covered.
Hey sis, what's going on?
Dude, guess what?
What?
We get to broadcast the Girl Friday show from the Co-op.
No.
Yes. Do you know what this means?
Road trip!
It's the Girl Friday Show, live from the Co-op Farm and Garden in Squim. Catch Steph and Amanda this Friday at 1 o'clock here on KONP.
So, should I bring my sunscreen?
In other news, there's a new sports bar in Port Angeles, and it brings with it a new modern concept in beverage service that potentially leaves the traditional beer flight sampler in the dust. The Tapery and Grill at the Port Angeles Wharf is a concept of property owner Eric Marks, who launched a soft opening last week. It has what you hope to see in a sports bar, with banks of TV screens featuring an emphasis on Northwest teams, and there's a full family-oriented menu of classic pub food featuring house-smoked meats that Mark says follows his vision of a gourmet sports bar with reasonable pricing. But really brings the Tapery into the 21st century as the beer tap concept. Until now, pouring or refilling your own beer glass in a bar would get you bounced to the curb, but not at the Tapery. That's expected. Here's Marks explaining.
These are self-serve taps. So when a customer comes in and checks in at our hostess desk up front, they're given a wristband. That's an RFID band. And then with that, they can walk up to the taps and pour themselves an ounce of beer or 12 ounces of beer, finish it, and come back and get some more. So people really enjoy it. They get to taste a variety of beers, get to drink at their own pace, and probably best of all, you don't have to wait for a bartender for your next beer.
Yeah, currently 30 beer taps available, plus a selection of wines, kombuchas, and ciders and more. They're all priced by the ounce, ready to put self-restraint to the test. Marks proudly left us with a last word for anyone who used to frequent a previous tenant in that spot.
A little thing, but really important, is bathrooms. Smuggler's Landing didn't have any bathrooms. We built bathrooms, and they're built really well, so I'm actually very proud of the bathrooms that we put in this restaurant. Because personally, when I go a place, I feel like bathrooms are second thought, but in reality, every customer uses them every visit.
About 150 people will hit the Olympic Discovery Trail for a 3-day journey this week, aimed at showing that the outdoors can be accessible to everyone. The annual Sea to Sound event covers 74 miles, with participants traveling by wheelchair, bicycle, hand cycle, and other adaptive equipment. Organized by Ian's Ride, the event brings together people with and without disabilities, with a particular focus on those living with paralysis and other mobility challenges. Now, it's not a race. Instead, participants travel the trail together, supported by volunteers providing aid stations, shuttles, equipment charging, mechanical help, and meals along the way. Ian's Ride's executive director, Ian Mackay, says one of the highlights is watching participants accomplish something they may not have thought was even possible. The 3-day journey also serves as a demonstration of how trails and outdoor recreation can be designed to accommodate people of all abilities. They will roll off on the trail beginning August 27th. Washington cattle producers criticizing President Donald Trump's plan to temporarily allow more tariff-free ground beef imports. The president announced Friday the U.S. will permit up to 300,000 tons of ground beef to enter tariff-free for 90 days. He says the agreement will lower consumer prices while allowing the domestic cattle herd to rebuild. But Washington Cattle Feeders Association Executive Director Jack Field says the imports could hurt ranchers as they prepare for a key late summer sales period. The nation's cattle herd is currently at a 75-year low. This is News Radio KONP.
Looking for the perfect place to enjoy your next chapter? Come tour Lavender Meadows in Sequim, featuring beautiful, affordable homes for active 55-plus living. Enjoy modern, low-maintenance living, plus pickleball courts, a community garden, and clubhouse gatherings.
Hey folks, this is Courtney over at Lavender Meadows. We hope to see you soon to check out our 8 new floor plans. Don't forget to ask us about our lease-to-own options.
Come home to Lavender Meadows. Visit lavendermeadowsmhc.com.
It's the 2025 model year closeout at Price Ford in Port Angeles. Right now, get rebates on all remaining 2025 Ford models that are bigger than ever. Plus, get the Price Ford discount on top of the rebates. Savings on top of savings. This is a great way to save big on the Ford you've been waiting for. But don't wait. When these 2025 models are gone, they're gone. Now is the time. Price Ford is the place during the 2025 model year closeout at Price Ford in Port Angeles.
If you love if you love then you'll love Z104.9. Z104.9. Classic gold hits for the Olympic Peninsula.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. Mainly sunny skies this afternoon, with daytime highs approaching 74. Winds out of the northwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows level off around 53. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Cloudy skies expected tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 65. Temperatures a bit below average Thursday and Friday, with highs in the low 60s. Rain showers likely Thursday, chance of rain on Friday. Taking a look at the extended forecast, 60 Saturday, 61 Sunday, and 61 on Monday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 68 degrees.
It's 12:46. Robert Workman's Take on Sports next.
Baseball Monday, the Mariners ended the Phillies' 9-game winning streak, 9-2. Julio Rodriguez belted a 3-run shot in the first inning. Cal Raleigh followed with a 2-run blast and later added 2 more solo shots for a 3-homer game. Cubs blanked the Diamondbacks 7-0, a 5-hitter for Kevin Gausman and the Band-Aids, Michael Conforto and Carson Kelly with back-to-back jacks. Giants shut out the Reds 5-0, 6 pitchers combined on a 5-hitter. Rafael Devers hit a 3-run homer. The AL leading Rays tangled up the Tigers 4-1. Rangers rolled over the White Sox 11-2 and grabbed the AL West lead over the idle Astros. Long balls from Jake Berger and Wyatt Langford. Red Sox got 2 in the top of the ninth to hook the Marlins 4-2. Anthony Siegler tripled in the tie-breaking run, then scored an insurance tally.
I definitely thought that was a possibility, but once I saw they weren't giving me a buzz sign, I felt like they trusted me to get a good hit up, get a good at bat, get something good to hit, and that's all I was trying to do.
Nationals scaled the Rockies 13-3. Dalen Lyle homered and drove in 5. Colorado has dropped 7 in a row. Nick Gonzalez RBI single in the 12th pushed the Pirates past the Padres 3-2. Guardians doubled up the Angels 4-2. Austin Hedges with a 2-run bushwhack, and the Twins held off the A's 9-6. Week 3 of the NFL preseason, the last of the 2-0 tune-up games before the regular season starts on Wednesday, September 9th. We'll have games this week on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Week 0 of the college football season is Saturday with 8 Division I games, including North Carolina against TCU in Dublin. Only one top 25 team in action. 14th ranked USC is home for San Jose State. That's Tuesday Sports.
Hello, Clallam County. This is Danny with Harper Ridgeview and Sequim Valley Funeral Chapels. I recently had the opportunity to assist a very elderly but very energetic woman here in our county. She had in her possession her husband's remains, who had passed years prior. She sent us a letter asking if we could help her pre-need funeral and cemetery services for herself and her deceased husband. She'd been stressing and worrying for far too long, wondering what would happen when she passed. It was such a joy to help her finalize her plans. It was so easy too. She expressed to me over and over such feelings of peace and relief now that all that was taken care of. So let us help you today to achieve that same peace of mind by planning ahead, even if it is a simple plan. We're here to serve you. Harper Ridgeview and Sequim Valley Funeral Chapels, because your loved ones deserve the best.
Today on the Todd Ortloff Show, Ryan Shafsma and Jason Hoffman give an update on their Sequim Granary project and about bringing the 100-year-old building back to life. Then we'll talk to Cody Blevins about the history of First National Bank of Port Angeles.
Join us at 1 o'clock Monday through Thursday for the Todd Ortloff Show on KONP. Information to keep you engaged in your community with the people and organizations who keep it running. Sponsored by Dan Shappy, Farmers Insurance.
At McCrory Carpet One, they know how important it is to feel confident in your flooring selection. You want to know it's going to look exactly the way you want it once it's installed in your home. That's why they offer their one-of-a-kind guarantee, making sure you're 100% happy that the floor you've created together is as beautiful as the one in your dreams. If not, they'll replace it for free. That's what they call the beautiful guarantee. Peace of mind is yours with every installation. Always priced right, always done right. McCrory Carpet One.
News Radio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Dick's Sporting Goods has lowered its full-year outlook due to weakness at its recently acquired Foot Locker, which it bought last year for $2.4 billion. Shares are currently down as much as 30%, with the stock falling about 9% this year through Monday's close. Consumer confidence fell in August to 89.4 from 90.2 in July. That's the lowest level in 7 months, but essentially in the same range it's been in since the beginning of the year, as the ongoing Iran war kept gas prices steadily above $4 a gallon. Buyers are looking at Warner Brothers Discovery assets as Paramount's legal fight to buy the studio continues. The valuable assets, which include TBS, TNT, and CNN, are a huge source of revenue for the company, partly because they show sports. Paramount is considering separate distribution agreements as one way to settle its antitrust litigation, with 12 states led by California. Markets all in the green with less than an hour to go, with both the Dow and S&P up around 0.25%, while the Nasdaq has gained around 0.5%. Dan Schwartzman, Bloomberg Radio.
Your birth experience should feel like yours. Come meet the midwives who can make that happen. Meet Our Midwives is a free monthly open house at Olympic Medical Center, where you can get to know our certified nurse midwives, tour our birth center, and start planning the birth that feels right for you. Join us the first Tuesday of every month at 5:30 p.m. in the Olympic Memorial Hospital Sunroom. Learn more at olympicmedical.org/meetourmidwives.
Whether you're building a homestead, caring for livestock, producing hay, or maintaining rural property, LS Tractor delivers the performance, durability, and value to tackle every season with confidence. And right now at Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales, you can get that durability with financing as low as 0% for 120 months. Start blue. Stay blue. LS Tractor at Leeds Farm Supply. Locally owned and operated since 1999.
News Radio KONP. Traffic and roads.
Let's head up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center now, and that is where Steve's standing by with one last look at our noontime traffic for us. Good afternoon, Steve.
Hi there. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, we're doing okay out there with traffic around the Port Angeles and Sequim area. Definitely busy out there. Port Angeles area coming into the downtown area, 8th Street, Ray Street, all those areas. A lot of traffic right now, a little bit slow going. Same thing in Sequim, Washington Street, Sequim Avenue, those areas. Just a lot of vehicles out there right now. So plan ahead if you're going to be heading out and moving around. If you're on Highway 101 between Port Angeles and Sequim, not too awful bad out there. A little slow from Port Angeles out to about Morris Creek area. But beyond that, just busy, but at the speed limit. So you should be doing good. Beyond the Sequim area right now, Hood Canal Bridge, currently it's good to go right now. Nothing scheduled for marine openings. State ferries are having some issues. They are falling behind on pretty much all the routes. So just plan ahead if you're going to be catching a ferry this evening over to the Seattle area. If you're headed out to the west end, not too bad out that way. Kind of light to moderate traffic right now. It is moving along at the speed limit. Just the one construction area out by the Solduck Hot Springs Road causing a little bit of a slowdown, so just be careful of that area. So everybody take care. Enjoy your afternoon. This is Steve reporting live from Clallam Transit for KONP.
All right, thanks, Steve. Forecast is calling for today to be sunshine the rest of the day. Maybe a little smoke moving in later this afternoon. Highs mid-70s to about 80. Clear tonight, then more clouds overnight. Lows low to mid-50s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy in the morning, giving way to mostly sunny skies by afternoon. A little cooler, mid-60s to about 70 for your highs. And we're going to have a little rain moving in by Thursday in our forecast, at least some showers, and much cooler with highs in the mid-60s to upper 60s come this Thursday. Right now in Sequim, it is 73, and it's also 73 degrees out at Fairchild Airport here in Port Angeles.
ABC Entertainment News.
Man, a spectacular move by Lightning McQueen. Yeah.
Ka-chow! Cars is turning 20, and to celebrate, the Pixar film is racing back to theaters. Tickets are on sale now with showings beginning September 4th. Disney is a parent company of Pixar and ABC News. Olivia Rodrigo has released a new song, Serena Joy, was written while Rodrigo was recording her latest album. You seem pretty sad for a girl so in love. She plans to perform the new single live during her set at her Daisy Chain Fields Festival on August 29th.
The next time I see you, will be in Hogwarts.
A new actor is coming to Hogwarts. Kit Harington will play Gilderoy Lockhart in the second season of HBO's upcoming Harry Potter series. Harington replaces Nicholas Hoult, who was previously announced in the role. The first season of the series, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, comes to HBO Max this Christmas. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
I was walking through a mall in Los Angeles, and I stopped at the Tesla store. Standing right there in the window, an Optimus robot, display only. But about this time next year, Elon Musk says you'll be able to buy one for $20,000 to $30,000. And once production ramps up, that price drops fast. Here's the kicker. While I was staring at Elon's mannequin, China was showing off the real deal. I'm Kim Commando for ExpressVPN. With one click, ExpressVPN keeps your online activity private and secure. Get 4 extra months at expressvpn.com/Kim. This past weekend at the second World Humanoid Robot Games in Beijing, a robot called Tiangong Ultra ran a 100-meter dash in 9.39 seconds. So how fast is that? Well, it beat Usain Bolt, the fastest man on Earth, by 0.2 of a second. In sprinting, that's not a photo finish. It's a blowout. And if we're not careful, the first humanoid robot in your living room will say, "Made in China." Get more updates like this in your inbox every morning with my free newsletter at getkim.com. AI is changing the world, and there's no question it's making technology smarter. But it's also making it so much easier for companies to learn more about you through your online activity. Websites you visit, searches you run, and the apps you use can reveal more about you than you realize. That's where a VPN comes in, like ExpressVPN. It encrypts your internet connection to help keep your personal information more secure online. Whether you're checking email or shopping online, ExpressVPN works quietly in the background, and it's easy to use. One tap on your phone, laptop, desktop, or tablet, and you're connected. Plus, one subscription now covers up to 14 devices at once. That's enough to protect your entire household. Best of all, it comes with a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee. Take your online privacy seriously with ExpressVPN. Right now, you can get 4 extra months by going to expressvpn.com/Kim. That's expressvpn.com/Kim. expressvpn.com/Kim.
I'm John Tesh, and coming up, it's normal for our brains to be full of unproductive chatter that drives us nuts, especially right before bed. But in a moment, I'll tell you how to reframe your thoughts to help silence that chatter. It's next in today's Intelligence for Your Life Minute.
Ulta's 21 Plus Days of Beauty event is almost here, starting August 28th. Find 50% off daily beauty steals from brands like Lancome and Peach & Lily. Save big on weekly beauty steals from fall faves like Moroccan Oil and Live Tinted. Plus, discover new must-haves from Tarte and Sol de Janeiro. Get ready for over 250 beauty steals and more. New season, new steals, new favorites. Plan your visit today. While supplies last, conditions apply. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful.
Alrighty, here and now I have a solution for a racing mind. Neuroscientist Dr. Ethan Kross is the author of the book Chatter, The Voice in Our Head, Why It Matters, and How to Harness It. Dr. Kross recommends a technique called distanced self-talk, where you simply talk to yourself as if you're talking to a friend. So, for example, instead of thinking, I really messed up, what am I going to do? Try thinking, she messed up, but I'm confident she can fix things. It sounds weird, but it works. Dr. Kross puts it, most of us find it easier to offer advice to someone else than to ourselves. By distancing ourselves from the problem and treating it like it's someone else's, we're better able to use logic. I'm John Tesh with today's Intelligence for Your Life Minute.
Hello, this is Port Commissioner Colleen McAleer. Have you ever wondered how our boat havens and marinas came to be? In 1931, the port built a small boat basin in Port Angeles, providing moorage for about 50 boats. As boating continued to grow in popularity, so did the need for additional facilities. Construction of the Port Angeles Boat Haven began in '46, with an expansion completed in '58. Today, the boat haven provides moorage for more than 400 boats. In 1975, legendary actor John Wayne donated 23 acres of waterfront property on Sequim Bay. John Wayne had a deep appreciation for the area. His family shared his vision of preserving public access to the shoreline and creating a place where generations of boaters can experience the beauty of Sequim Bay. Today, John Wayne Marina continues to welcome residents and visitors from around the world.
Your voice, your news. News Radio KONP, Port Angeles Sequim, AM 1450, FM 101.7 and 101.3, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The entertainment world is mourning the passing of music and cultural icon Dolly Parton. Here's ABC's Matt Rivers.
In a statement released by her family, they said in part, quote, a rhinestone life that shone bright enough for the world to see. Parton had been dealing with health issues for a while, and as recently as August 21st, she was quoted in a People article saying she was still working while trying to heal from issues that cropped up. She had canceled a planned Las Vegas residency the year prior due to those health concerns and others, but in her typical upbeat way, she said she planned to be back at work soon.
Dolly Parton's publicist said she died peacefully in Nashville. She was 80 years old. Canada is issuing a series of retaliatory tariffs on U.S. imports in response to the 50% tariffs that the Trump administration imposed on Canadian goods coming into the U.S. Canada officials say they were offered a deal from the U.S., but it was not fair. Ontario Premier Doug Ford telling ABC News the auto industry would be hurt the most by tariffs, and he urges the U.S. to come back to the negotiating table.
He's treating us worse than the communist China, and I just want to make sure that we have a fair deal for both sides, because right now it's hurting American workers and it's hurting Canadian workers. We're the #1 customer in the world to the U.S.
Canada's tariffs could be as high as 50% and expected to take effect September 8th. Prosecutors in the trial of Lindsay Clancy, the Massachusetts woman charged with the murder and the deaths of her 3 children, calling their final rebuttal witnesses. Her defense attorneys say she was suffering from postpartum psychosis when she strangled her children. A forensic psychologist on the stand today disputing that.
Tried to cast doubt on the argument that it was psychosis by highlighting that she only heard this voice in her head once, that her systems were kind of inconsistent with that she was more likely disassociating in those moments.
ABC's Peter Haralambos closing arguments expected to begin this week. You're listening to ABC News.
I'm not one to say I told you so, but I switched to Pure Talk over a year ago, and ever since I've been telling people there's no better wireless company out there. Well, a few months ago, a massive survey was conducted. 123,000 people were asked to rate their wireless carrier in 4 categories: coverage, support, data, and overall value. Well, the results are in. Guess which wireless company was the only wireless company to get 5 stars in every category? Yeah, Pure Talk. 5 stars, every category. To celebrate, Pure Talk is offering the first 3 months of any plan for just $15 a month, including their top-tier unlimited plan. No contract, no commitment, just a very inexpensive way to test drive the only American wireless company with 5 stars in every category. Just dial pound 250, say micro, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service will take it from there. Again, pound 250 micro. And yes, I told you so.
The war with Iran and the war between Ukraine and Russia keeping gas prices elevated than what they usually are at this time of the year. Gas Buddies Patrick DeHaan tells ABC News if trends continue, it could be the highest gas prices seen on Labor Day.
Even if the national average does see slight relief, we'd still have to drop significantly down to $3.83 a gallon to avoid setting a new Labor Day record.
The national average for a gallon of gas is hovering around $4.08. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro urging people to get vaccinated for measles as his state combats the worst measles outbreak in more than 30 years. 2 people died from the disease in Lancaster County. Governor Shapiro said the victims and the vast majority of cases are among those who are not vaccinated.
This disease does not respect county lines or religious lines. It goes after all who are unprotected.
There have been nearly 400 confirmed cases of measles in Pennsylvania this year alone. A federal judge in New York today rejecting Ghislaine Maxwell's challenge to her conviction, finding all her claims meritless and frivolous. Maxwell was convicted of 5 felony counts in connection with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and sexual abuse of young girls over the course of a decade. A federal appeals court upheld her conviction, and the U.S. Supreme Court declined to take up her petition. Maxwell tried to vacate her conviction and 20-year prison sentence, arguing documents released in the Epstein files supported her claims. Michelle Franzen, ABC.
Money these days, it's out of control how fast it disappears. Groceries, taxes, subscriptions, on and on. It's like your wallet's got a hole in it. And just when you think you're ahead, something else comes along to empty it out. But you know what else is out of control? The deals at your favorite employee-owned stores. Angelus Millwork, Hartnagel's, and Angelus Rentals. We've got so many ways to save, it's ridiculous. Major sales on paint, decking, power tools, and more. Check. New specials on 20-plus products every month. You bet. Online-only discounts? Oh yeah! Window and cabinet deals with installation? What? Don't forget about the Tool of the Month and Husqvarna deals at Angelus Rentals. Never! And that's not enough. Your mailman has coupons. Watch for those in your Valpak mailer. Seriously, it's a little nuts how many ways we're helping you save throughout the year, but it's all about keeping your wallet happy and your money local. Visit lumbertraders.com for more info, and as always, we deeply appreciate you for shopping local and employee-owned.
KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. 457-6600. Clallam County leaders say there's a major gap between affordable housing needs and the available funding to build it. County staff estimates meeting lower income housing targets required by the state could leave an annual shortfall of about $8.2 million. Commissioners continue reviewing the comprehensive plan ahead of a late September hearing, talking about the housing portion of that plan. Western Washington could see a warmer, drier fall as El Nino strengthens. Seasonal forecasts call for above-average temperatures and below-average rainfall through November, potentially extending wildfire season and contributing to another below-normal mountain snowpack.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by Olympic Game Farm. Daytime highs approaching 74 this afternoon under mainly clear skies, northwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight, lows around 53. Daytime highs approaching 65 tomorrow. Cloudy skies expected. Temperatures a bit below average Thursday and Friday with highs in the low 60s. Showers likely Thursday, chance of rain on Friday. Taking a look at the extended forecast, 60 Saturday, 61 Sunday, and 61 on Monday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 67 degrees.
It's the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP. Now, here's Todd.
And welcome once again to the show. Going to spend the first half of the program today talking about a little history upgrade, if you will, in Sequim. Many of us familiar with the big grain tower that looms over downtown Sequim. It's been up there for about a century now, and there is a plan to restore all of that and to turn it into something new and preserve a bit of the history that's there as well. And we're going to talk with two of the guys that are behind the project. Ryan Schaafsma and Jason Hoffman join us on the phone. Thanks, guys, for coming on today.
Hi, Todd. Thanks for having us.
So let's talk about your project. First of all, this has been going on for a bit, and I know you've been working hard and a little bit under the radar, but finally getting to a stage now where you're getting a bit more public about what you're planning to do there.
Yeah, it's true. It's been a little over 4 years coming up, but actually, we're going to be hitting 4.5 years here soon, much longer than we ever anticipated, but we're seeing the end of the roads in our near future, we hope.
So what possessed you to go after restoring this tower and also kind of the facilities around it?
A little bit of crazy mixed with a little bit of hopes and dreams and just aspirations, trying to do something fun for the community. And, I think it's something that we've been missing. And, we always hoped someone else would do something like this. And then ultimately it just kind of decided, well, the opportunity, it means everything sort of seemed to line up for us. And, we just kind of dove in a little bit unawares at some level, despite having, a lot of projects under our feet between the two of us.
Yeah, and we'll get to a little of the undiscovered things, both good and bad, as I follow a little of what has happened there. Give our listeners a bit of a history of the Green Tower in Sequim.
Yeah, so there's a lot of that's come to light since we purchased the building, because some of what has been out there isn't all correct, and a lot of it took some deep diving, looking into newspapers and history. But basically what we found is that the warehouse building was originally built in around 1923 and stood alone until it was added onto later in the 20s, early 30s, and actually a smaller grain elevator was added onto the building long before the main grain elevator that you see today. That's the iconic portion of the building, was added in 1944. Okay, so
and I had always assumed it all was there at the same time. So not true. This has been a staged development, so to speak, down there.
Yeah, over 20 years to bring it from the original warehouse structure. And of course, we didn't even know that until we started digging in and found the original east end of the building, the wall that had some original signage on it that was an old exterior wall. So that didn't seem to have been recorded anywhere that we had found either. So
this was a co-op building, correct? If I'm not mistaken, right?
It became one, but was not originally. It was originally built by the Peninsula Grain Company. They went under, as best we can tell, and then Cecil Dawley bought the building in 1935, give or take. And his family turned it into a feed store, an equipment store for agricultural supplies and feed. And then that expanded once he was joined, I believe, the Army in World War II. He leased it out to the co-op in 41, and then ultimately the co-op bought it in 43 and took it over and added the main elevator in 44.
So what did you discover in the need for this much larger grain elevator being built? Why did that come about?
Part of that was we had over 100 or 200 dairy farms in the valley, surrounding areas, so there was a huge need. And then during the war, Sequim served a much broader market than the peninsula, obviously. So we shipped out a lot of dairy products and beef and other things that became quite vital and important beyond just the war effort itself, but just to the people that lived around the region.
And those who are familiar from being here a long time ago, the railroad tracks went right by there, right?
That's correct. Yeah, in 1915, I believe, it connected Sequim to Port Angeles and then eventually on to Port Townsend. Yep.
Okay, so this has I don't know how long it's been, the elevator part of it at least has been vacant and is used mostly as a cell phone tower, I think was about all for a lot of years. Kind of give us a bit of the modern history of especially that iconic elevator part that we all see.
Yeah, the elevator, you're right, has sat somewhat abandoned since the 80s. There was a bar, the Alamo Bar, briefly sat under the main tower for a period, but ended up being abandoned and then used as storage and office space and other stuff. But, largely has gone unused and then was covered. A lot of that space had been covered in drywall, and so you couldn't see any of what we've been sort of uncovering here for the last several years.
And that was kind of my next line of what I wanted to ask you about, are some of the uncoverings. You've already alluded to a couple of things. I mean, one uncovering actually explained a whole bunch about the history of this place. Give us a few more stories of what you found as you've ripped through the walls and gotten inside there.
Yeah, I'm going to let Jason tell a few of his favorites.
Wield the hammer for us.
Sure. We found some very interesting things. At one point, we found a big molasses pit down underneath that was still full of molasses, which was kind of confusing to us. We didn't know quite what it was. Thought it might be an oil pit or...
Yeah.
We found quite a few things. Some different, pulleys and chutes and all sorts of things. Termites was one of them. Mm-hmm. We found that half of the building was rotten and fallen down and been eaten by termites, so that was kind of a shock to us. But lots of still discovering things. Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, did you? I would imagine it probably went through your mind at some point as you got into this, as saying, have we really gotten into something more than we can handle here?
Every single day, yes. Okay. Still to this day, we think that.
But you're still moving along, so your project is still moving along. You haven't abandoned it at all, as well. What would be the most interesting thing if you could share, especially with someone who's been around these parts for a while, as to what you've discovered and going through all of this, that maybe somebody from the Sequim or PA area doesn't know about the whole complex, really? I mean, even the buildings surrounding it.
I think kind of what you alluded to earlier is there's been a belief or assumption that the whole complex has been the whole complex the entire time. And I think we got a little bit of pushback when we kind of decided to move forward with the granary being kind of the primary name for the facility. And, a few folks were like, well, no, it's not a granary, it's a grain elevator. And so we decided to stick with the granary name more because it started as a granary, which is more about storage of various items, including grain, but also other agricultural items. And a lot of people say, well, it's a grain elevator. You got to call it the grain elevator. And so we really wanted to stick with the original, purpose of the building, and then carry that through to really help kind of tie it into its original purpose and more of its history, because it didn't start as an elevator at all. It started as a granary warehouse.
See, this is something that's new to me, and it totally now makes more sense as to why you're going with the name and some of what your plans are there, too. But people are going to ask you, what are you going to do with the elevator? That's going to stick, right?
Well, we've gotten a lot of suggestions, bungee jumping, some rock climbing. We've had I think there's the iFly, like skydive, indoor skydiving. A couple people have asked us to do, build them a penthouse up top. We've gotten a lot of requests, but
there are so many things that you can, I can't imagine. You have a large shaft, essentially. You can only do so much in. I mean, that's a heck of a ceiling space for a typical use in that building. So,
it's actually 11 of them.
Oh,
so there's 11 separate shafts. So it really breaks it down into these really small, mostly unusable spaces. So it's pretty limited on what we can do with it.
So that's still a bit, pardon the pun, up in the air then, as to what you might do with that part of the building. Tell us a bit about what the other plans are, because I think that's the important thing, is that you guys do have a game plan for what that campus is going to look like, or you hope it to be.
Yeah. So our first phase right now that we're working on is a coffee shop, wine lounge. Hoping to be opening that up fairly soon into the summer here. And we have 3 different apartment buildings, kind of hotelish rooms that will be opening up in the outer grain towers around the building. And those should hopefully follow a month after. So yeah, that's coming right up the pipeline. And then obviously the granary portion we'll have is we've got the restaurant coming. Hopefully, we don't really have a date on that yet, but coming soon.
Before the end of the year.
Before the end of the year.
Okay, so that's not terribly long out. What kind of restaurant is this going to be? What's the style? Are you going thematically with things? Describe what it will look like when it is there.
Yeah, we had one couple stop by and said they really wanted to see a Greek restaurant in Sequim, and as much as I appreciate a good gyro, we didn't think that would be terribly fitting. So the plan is to stick with a kind of basic American. But along with that, we're doing our best to source a lot locally. We're working out some local, locally raised and fed beef. So, we're trying to do our best to tie a lot of it in. It's not quite going to be farm to table on across the board, but hopefully will be a menu that will please just about anyone. So between steaks and burgers and pizzas and sandwiches and kind of a little bit of everything on the American menu.
So I got to roll the clock back 4.5 years or so. When you first thought about this as a project, did you have a grand vision yet? Tell us a bit about what was in your minds as you first set foot on this and kind of embarked on the whole project.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely going to evolve around food. At one point, we thought about having kind of a tap room with some food trucks out in the parking lot. We went all the way as to having 3 or 4 different restaurants within one, kind of like I don't know what you'd call it, a co-op-esque restaurant. And I mean, it had evolved every day. With the hotel rooms, those weren't even on our radar at first. The coffee shop wasn't really a thing. It's really changed over the last 4 years, for sure.
Well, when we first walked in, and it was, we started looking at walls. We can paint that wall. We'll put a facade on that wall. We'll move this one a little bit. And
we were looking at like a 6-month turnaround.
We were looking at a pretty short window until we started opening up walls, and what we found just couldn't be left.
Which is
the way it was, though.
I guess in some ways good news and bad news. It's really put this, your timeline way off. But you have discovered a few things, and looking at some of the pictures I know that you have posted up online, it's kind of interesting.
Very much so. Yeah. No, I think. We tore up some floorboards at one point and found some old 1930s newspaper from from Cecil Dawley when he did a partial remodel. It was the same year that he had remodeled it, because we had a flooring change in part of the building, and we're a little confused why it would have been there. But the newspaper itself we found under the floors that was both a draft stop and helped with squeaks. Apparently that was the main use back in the 2030s. So yeah, little discoveries like that really made the project pretty interesting day to day.
How much are you trying to incorporate kind of the history into the the end architecture there as well? I mean, there's some things probably you're not going to be able to keep around, but how do you try to blend new with the old?
Yeah, that's been kind of one of the fun parts, and yeah, we sort of had these discussions of what are we opening here, a museum or a venue, and thankfully, I mean, it's a bit of both, and we'll have quite a bit of the history and inner workings. We've worked really hard to make a lot of the building and the inner workings and stuff under the floor visible, with glass floors and some windows into different areas to really try to highlight some of that. And we even have, local family, the Beckavars here had ended up acquiring the original generator, Chore Boy generator, which had been floating around the county for a while, ended up in their hands, and they're putting it on loan to us. So we'll have that on display here, which is pretty neat to have some of that original history. And then another one is one of the original grain mills from the earlier grain elevator was also held locally by a gentleman, Larry Somerville, and he donated that to us as well to put on display. So excited to have some of that history to be able to share with everyone.
So some people don't understand probably the rich agricultural history the Sequim Dungeness Valley had, and this is kind of nice. You're able to present something for everybody that's new to the area to say, wow, they did do a lot of this farming here. They did do a lot of cattle raising.
Very much so. And I mean, from the time in particular when we were kids, through the 80s, watching Sequim was still largely open fields everywhere. And through our lifetimes in the last 30 plus years, 40 years, we've seen a drastic change, obviously, in the landscape. And thankful that there are still some of the original farms and the land trusts and other things are trying to preserve some of that. So yes, it is a piece that often gets forgotten.
So outside, what's this thing going to look like color-wise? What are you doing to preserve the outside? And I'm sure everybody's going to wonder, what are you going to do with the grain tower when it's painted or whatever? What is the plan?
Yeah, we replaced a lot of the metal on the grain tower to patch up some holes. That's going to stay all original. We might have to redo the roof at some point. Mm-hmm. But other than that, the color is going to stay the same. We've got a lady coming to redo the co-op sign hopefully soon. So we're going to bring that back to its original colors and signage. And then we've got the color. I mean, the rest of the building on the outside's pretty much done. We added some wood accents, new windows, and then the gray color and some dark brown posts and trim. But other than that, yeah, the outside's pretty much there.
All right. Real quick before we go, what are the timelines then? When can we start getting inside there and taking part? Sounds like pretty soon, maybe for some at least some coffee or something, right?
Yeah, I would say September is the month for coffee, and the restaurant and food will be. I keep committing to this year. If we're not done as a whole and have a restaurant running, then I'm leaving the country. And Jason's got to take it on himself.
Right. I love it. Well, you guys have poured a lot of heart and soul into this for, I think, a lot longer than you thought this might take. But I appreciate what's going on down there. It's been fun to watch the pictures. And you guys actually have a pretty good Facebook page, I think, set up. Folks can kind of follow along and see. Actually, you have some photos of some of what we just talked about, some of these discoveries.
Very much, yeah. If anybody's interested, check out Facebook or Instagram. We have a lot of the history. Facebook probably has more of the write-ups and some of what we found, some of the newspaper clippings talking about the earlier portions of this. But yeah, we try to keep up the best we can, but until we get some more staff on and hope to fill in some more of the blanks. But we're doing our best.
I know you two have been kind of a two-man wrecking crew down there for about 4 years at this. So I appreciate that you're preserving this and taking this on and stuck with it. And really excited to see what happens as you get things opened up. Thanks, Ryan Shopsma and Jason Hoffman, for joining us for a few minutes today. We're going to have you back maybe when we get that restaurant open, all right?
Sounds good. Thank you. Look forward to it, Todd. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, they're with the Granary Project, which is down in Sequim. You can't miss it. It's the big grain elevator and then kind of the campus that's around that. And, yeah, stay tuned. They're going to be opening up some facilities there for the public pretty soon. We're going to take a break. Be back with more in just a moment.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
Hi, it's Dan Shappy with Farmers Insurance. Ever call somewhere and get stuck in a phone maze so long you start questioning your life choices?
Press 1 to speak to a robot. Press 2 to be routed to the number 4 button. Press 3 to be disconnected inexplicably.
Yeah, we don't do that. We're right here in Port Angeles at 405 South Peabody Street. You need help? Just stop in. We'll look up, smile, and actually talk with you. Farmers Insurance, here when you need us.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Attention all moms-to-be. North Olympic Healthcare Network's board-certified physicians specializing in family medicine with obstetrics are here to guide and support you on your pregnancy journey. We provide personalized, compassionate care focused on building a long-lasting relationship before, during, and after pregnancy. From pre-pregnancy planning to childbirth to primary care for your whole family, we're with you for the journey. To learn more, visit nohn-pa.org/obstetrics.
Bathfitter is celebrating over 42,000 installations in Western Washington. That's 42,000 bathrooms made safer, cleaner, and more stylish. Right now, get free installation and no interest financing for 24 months on the bathroom of your dreams. Custom fit tub and shower solutions installed in as little as 1 day with complete removal of your old setup, backed by a lifetime warranty. Visit bathfitternw.com for your free consultation. Special financing for qualified buyers only.
Looking for affordable home ownership on the peninsula? Mountain View Homes has you covered. Enjoy high-quality craftsmanship at 40% less than traditional homes. You heard me, 40% less. We offer full-service land packages from dirt to turnkey, delivering beautiful, efficient manufactured homes on your chosen site. With 3 convenient locations, including Carlsberg, we're here to serve you. Visit mtviewhomes.com today to learn more. Mountain View Homes, where affordability meets quality.
If you like sunshine, warm weather, and vacation, then August is your month. This is Dale from Wilder Auto, and if you like great deals on closeout models, then August is also your month. We have our best new and used selection of the year, many financing options, and some of the best brands on the planet. Kind of makes it seem like that endless summer. For best selection, I wouldn't wait. Stop by and check us out or 24/7 at wilderauto.com.
Eagle Dump Trailers are back in stock at Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales. Built in Portland, Oregon, Eagle has more than 115,000 trailers on the road, each backed by a lifetime structural warranty, making them a symbol of durability, innovation, and quality. That's the perfect fit for Leeds, the Olympic Peninsula's trusted name for quality equipment and expert knowledge since 1999. Built in the Northwest, backed on the peninsula. Hook up an Eagle Dump Trailer from Leeds Farm Supply today and haul with confidence.
All right, we're going to continue with the history theme of sorts in our next segment after we check in with the news. I'm going to welcome in Cody Blevins, who is doing family research, but that's led into the research of what was First National Bank, maybe one of the first real banks here in Port Angeles. It's a very fascinating tale of not only the bank, but also kind of the history and some of the players that made Port Angeles what it was. We'll talk with Cody when we come back right after this.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
Looking for the perfect place to call home? So was Greg when he and his wife found Lavender Meadows in Sequim.
There's not many places where you can, out one side of your community, have a gorgeous national park like Olympic National Park, and then the Strait of Juan de Fuca on the other side. When we visited Lavender Meadows and saw that they had social events every week and potlucks and game nights, that's right up my alley.
Visit lavendermeadowsmhc.com.
Your community-minded friends at First Fed bring you the Community Corner, highlighting good things happening right here in our area.
First Fed is proud to spotlight the Community Emergency Response Team, also known as CERT, as they stand ready in emergency situations. Made up of over 500 trained volunteers, CERT addresses life safety along with search and rescue operations and improving the readiness of our citizens to be self-reliant. You can join the Community Emergency Response Team by joining an upcoming class. Trainings are provided on the first and third Thursday of every month. All volunteer teams receive training in search and rescue, basic triage along with first aid, radio communications, and disaster planning. While experience is valued, it's not necessary. Consider joining a CERT team and do good where you are. Search online CERT Clallam County for preparation resources and trainings. CERT, doing the greatest good for the greatest number of people.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. Fans and fellow musicians and actors mourning the loss of Dolly Parton, the music icon, songwriter, and actress, died today. Her legacy lives on.
Dolly Parton is one of only 17 people to be inducted into both the Country Music Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, her name appearing alongside Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, and Ray Charles. She was nominated for a Grammy more than 50 times, winning 10 of them. And in 2011, she won a Lifetime Achievement Grammy Award. Two of her songs, Jolene and Coat of Many Colors, are in the Library of Congress. And in 2024, Billboard magazine put Dolly Parton at the top of its list of greatest country artists of all time. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Dolly Parton's family says that they will carry on her music along with her charity work and say she died at her home in Nashville, Tennessee. Dolly Parton was 80 years old. This is ABC News.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by Olympic Game Farm. Daytime highs approaching 74 this afternoon under mainly clear skies, northwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight, lows around 53. Daytime highs approaching 65 tomorrow, cloudy skies expected. Temperatures a bit below average Thursday and Friday with highs in the low 60s. Showers likely Thursday, chance of rain on Friday. Taking a look at the extended forecast, 60 Saturday, 61 Sunday, and 61 on Monday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 67 degrees.
All right, welcome back to the show. Going to stick with the history thing today, and going to switch to Port Angeles now, where we're going to talk about the first real stable bank. I'm going to say it wasn't necessarily the very first bank, but probably the first real bank, you might call it around here, and that was the First National Bank of Port Angeles. Yes, there was one, and it was a pretty significant player in the times. And a person who is discovered very much involved with that had a family that actually was pretty much behind the bank, and that's Cody Blevins. Cody joins us, and of course, Cody's from the Blevins family that has been here forever as well. So, rightly, does not surprise me that you have family that were tied to this as well. I go back, I just got to set this up because I went into Thurman's where you work, and you told me, I'm doing this thing. And it started out really as just a family history project, I understand, right?
Yeah, kind of. My Ben Phillips, who was the founder of the Port Angeles Trust and Savings, which then became First National Bank there in the 1920s, his second wife was 2 years younger than my grandpa. So she had a chest of his personal stuff, and my mom had that for years and never had gone through it. So they finally moved, which doing research found out that's the first time that a Phillips member hadn't lived on Cherry Hill since about 1920-ish. So it was kind of interesting to see. But anyway, so I finally had a chance to go through it, and it had personal notes of his and clippings, some of which I brought in here. But so I had a chance to go through that, and it was just fascinating to see how much he'd actually kind of done for the community. We never really talked much about it, but it was just doing his part, as they'd say. So,
all right, so let's go back to the history of this bank. As you mentioned, it wasn't always called First National Bank of Port Angeles. It was a bank and trust, as you mentioned.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. The Port Angeles Trust and Savings, and he established that in 1914. And there were only two banks in town at the time, so he was the third bank, but it was Citizens National Bank and then Bank of Clown County. So then, fast forward a little bit, he ends up buying the shares and becomes a majority shareholder in Citizens National Bank, which I've got the records or his notes between him and another person about the purchase of that, which I had no idea about either. And that was fascinating read on that. So, but out of that, I've also got from that chest shareholder books from there. So it's got Delabars and Lordsons and Buggies, which is another name that pops up. He was a road commissioner and part of the port commissioner kind of original establishment of that, which then come to find out my coworker Sam, a good friend of mine, he actually signed my marriage license. That's his great something grandfather. So it was interesting to see how they're still connected all these years later. So, fascinating things like
Absolutely.
that. Yeah.
Did you realize, though, the extent that he was involved with this bank until you kind of landed on all of this?
Well, sort of. I always knew he was kind of president, and like in an obituary I found, which really piqued my curiosity, which was from the PI, Seattle PI.
Mm-hmm.
It mentioned he was known as Mr. Banker throughout the whole Clown County.
Yeah.
And then upon the research was coming up, which was I'm kind of glad we chose today, is that the bank sold 50 years ago yesterday.
How about that?
Yeah.
Which it eventually became First Fed, right? Isn't that part of what played it? There's some confusion, though, between the two when they established,
a little
right?
bit, because First Federal Savings and Loan and then First National Bank, but it became the 4 branches, C-First.
Then C-First, right.
Yeah,
right.
Correct. So, and then doing research, finding out of the 5 branches that First National Bank had, only 3 of them are still banks. There's the Penn Street branch, which is Key Bank, the 8th and Oak branch, which is First Security, and then the Food Bank out in Clown Bay.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting, too.
Yeah,
so.
not quite a financial institution, but still a bank.
Yeah.
So.
Let's go back. Let's talk about the intertwining of some of these names that you talked about, because those folks were very much directly involved with your family's, bank, essentially.
Yeah. So then we go through, we can get about the shareholders list, but the original, like with the Citizens National Bank, was Lauritsen's bank.
Yep.
He was a big part of that. And upon just knowing a little bit about PA history, Lauritsen Boulevard is at an odd angle because GM Lauritsen owned all the land south of that. So, but then I was researching and found titles from First National Bank after it had purchased Citizens, and it was the land deeds for that. So I go, well, maybe GM he didn't own it, but his bank owned the lands, and how he was able to do that. And then, which more research, a lot of bankers back in that time, they would use the bank's money to build buildings and buy land. So like if you look at the GM Lauritsen building there on Lincoln Street, the theater, which the Lighthouse I believe is redoing.
Yep.
So, which I got a chance to go in there, and that was pretty cool to see that stripped down. And but these bankers, there weren't so much bankers; they would just use that money to buy that, and that's why a lot of them would get liquidated later.
Gotcha.
So in the bank that GM Lauritsen, the people that they kind of bought out, Ben Phillips and Alston Fetter Service, who has ties to Clown Bay, and that's where CQ kind of was the first business person in CQ, built the big dock for the Earl's Mill, which then all was done through the banking. So there's ties that way. But the GM Lauritsen, I find out, I don't know if he was maybe the great financier of Port Angeles.
That maybe we all thought of,
with his
but
banks.
Savvy developer and a businessman, it sounds like.
100%. And some of us who know the history is Lauritsen money, but that was only kind of good in his
only in his circle, in his bank,
yes.
in his businesses.
And so I kind of refer to that as monopoly money, because I'll show you this here.
You brought in,
I brought actually a legal $20 bill. That's
from the First National Bank in Port Angeles. It's it's a $20 bill, and it's like a 20. I mean, if you had to look closely to see it's emblazoned with that on there. Though.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So
there's kind of cool.
History is always cooler when you can touch it sometimes, but but that money was good everywhere, not just the GM Lord.
Right. So that was a bit of a different take for folks, right? Because of
because during the run through the Depression, he was able to cash people out, but since he had enough bonds with the Treasury Department, he was able to open the bank when everybody got the call. The bank holiday during Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Which is another interesting story.
So tell us about that, too, because that's a big part of this whole thing, right? Is how you survived this depression that
got through the depression just because he had the bonds and savvy enough, and I think one of the first banking institutions as opposed to just a financer in town, a little different. So but that was when he was able to buy the first American National Bank in Port Townsend, which he owned 4 banks technically. That one in Port Townsend, in what year was that? He got that in 29, and then the Bank of Sequim in October of 36, and then the Fork State Bank in 1944. So between the 4 of them, he had the 4 banks, and that's technically what sold the C-First.
And that's what became C-First, right?
Yeah.
Or at least this part of Seafirst, I should point out.
Yeah,
not the
correct.
whole-
Yeah.
Seafirst had many other things at the time as well. But, what have you learned most about Ben Phillips, though, in this research? Just aside from this bank it's pretty involved guy, it sounds like.
Well, like some of the big things I found, that he was the director of the Seattle branch of the Federal Reserve, because they've got different banks throughout the Federal Reserve districts. And so he was the director of that. He did that twice. And he was also part of the Executive Council of American Bankers Association during the 39 to 42, president of the Washington Bankers Association in 44. And that's outside of banking. And then here in town, lots of different stuff. The Port Angeles Symphony, that was one thing. They started. The Klahani Club was still around. He was a part of. He was a big proponent of getting the national park here. I don't know if he overly liked the size of it because, well, his business was based on the timber industry and the income through that. So he wanted it, but maybe a little bit smaller. But that was, researching that, I found out. And another, I could go on for a long time, but The Olympic Leader, which is the book about the Webster family, which started KOMP here.
Yep, that's right.
If they didn't get the license back in 47, 46.
They 45 it finally went on the air, but it was earlier than that. But the war knocked us off.
Getting the license.
Yeah.
But one of the banks, or not the banks, but one of another radio stations that was competing for it was the Olympic Broadcast Company, which Ben Phillips was the co-founder of and started that. So
it's such small world things.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Well, in the Webster family, who started all the Peninsula Daily News, its original formation, but in that, I don't want to get the quote right here. Reading through that, it says, by 1952, it was generally believed that two people ran Port Angeles, bank president Benjamin Phillips and newspaper publisher Charles Webster.
They may not have been too far off at that time.
Yeah. So, it was interesting. Well, why is that? And finding out all these different things with the things he started, and
But it was a different time, and that's kind of how things work. And you had you had kind of the robber baron days and things like that. Not to say that's what this was, but that was kind of how things worked. You would have people that had a lot of amassed wealth and had a lot of power in areas. But I could say that both of those, although they did a lot of good with what they had.
Correct. Yep.
You just laid off. We probably wouldn't have a symphony like we had right now had Ben Phillips not started it. And the Klahani Club's a great thing. And there's a whole bunch of
different things like that. Yep. And I've also found out with my grandpa, who, in doing research on the bank, I read that was another thing that kind of made me go, okay, I really need to write this book or do whatever I'm going to do with this, because it said in the first federal book, Our First Fed, that Ben Phillips had sold the bank in 76. Which my grandpa had actually sold the bank in 76 because Ben had passed away in 73. So little things like that.
Let's get who sold it down right.
Yeah, well, because my grandpa, I found out, which even though he had many titles, like with the Economic Development Council, he was part of the Chamber of Commerce Committee to get that started. So I was thinking, I bet you McAleer, this is exactly what they were thinking when they started it. Someone like her, done a lot, and it was great to see that and just kind of look back. But his biggest title, he kind of was his banking achievements, not only being one of the youngest presidents of a bank at 31 years old, but he was also part of the Federal Reserve, the Class A director of the actual San Francisco district, they call it District 13. And the guy he replaced, found out, had been doing it for 40 years, the longest serving Class A director.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting.
So,
and these are people that are based in little old Port Angeles.
Exactly.
That's what's kind of crazy about this, right?
Yeah. That's what's sort of like, I think he's the only one so far I could see who was part of that.
I don't think we've had another Fed chair or anybody that's been on the Fed since.
So, and he did all that before his term ended it was from 73 to 76, and then sold the bank after. So
as you can see, and we were only just touching the surface on this, you went down a rabbit hole with all of this, and what started as a trunk that you found in a move out at a house.
Yeah, kind of. So I was like, well, this is, some people say, long story short, but this is real long story, but it was you should do tours, but don't make it personal. And it's like, well, doing a tour, this is personal because it is part of the history. You know, this is my heritage, Port Angeles. It's how I know I got here. I always ask people at Thurman's, how did you get here?
Yeah.
Because I know how I got on the island we call the peninsula.
The island.
You know.
So what are you going to do? You're putting a book together.
Eventually, the idea.
But you also got some YouTube things and stuff. So tell people about if they're intrigued by some of this, you can kind of follow along now.
Yeah, and if there's any stories, but I started a YouTube channel, First National History, which is #1 ST National History. Just because I thought, I don't know when to quit digging with the history and the research. So writing a book might take forever to get to. But if I did a YouTube channel, I could do videos as I start discovering things, and can actually get a video together with the little bits of the history and do that. So that's a big thing. And then First National History at Gmail, if anyone's got stories or,
sure,
maybe little ties back and forth. So, yeah,
I'm intrigued by the conversations we've had going back to like the Lords and ties and some of these things that are going on, because these are names. People don't know who these were actual folks.
Yeah.
That most people don't realize what they were, who they were in the area at the time.
Yep.
And things like you just pointed out, the reason that Lords and Boulevard doesn't go straight across.
Yeah, because of that. Yeah, he got in a dispute with the city is the story I've always heard. I'm like, nah, we're going to do it this way. So.
But you also discovered that perhaps, a lot of this was, bank-funded development might be a good way to put some of this stuff. But in those days, that's how things got done probably in a lot of ways. Had those folks not done it that way, we may not have had some of the buildings we have downtown.
Do what you got to do, as they say. Yeah. And another interesting thing, because I've got the name of some of the shareholders, like Coupler is one of them, and they've got 2 buildings downtown where Oak Street Bistro's is one of them. So
sure,
that's
right.
A delicious place for lunch. Everyone's listening. But I was able to find addresses over their houses, and it's fun to see
where they lived and stuff.
Yeah, so I thought, well, there's another channel maybe or something where they lived, and because I found Thomas Aldwell of the dam in the lake. I grew up just down the road, I've run across that yard 100 times.
You had no idea.
I had no idea. So that was kind of interesting to me. So
I think when you get a chance to actually personally live the history, it does make it kind of fun.
Yeah,
as you are doing right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so where are you at in all of your? You're looking for more things, but how close are you to getting to where you're going to write this book or get it out?
That might be maybe a year or so off, because as I'm gathering. And even the history of other banks, like Olympic State Bank, which is currently Chase Bank, and then U.S. Bank. Those are 2 of the buildings. That's an interesting story.
I think it's interesting. Just the bank story about it is the fact that every little town had its something national bank or its bank of sort of thing, and now we don't have that anymore nearly like it used to be.
No,
and. Good or bad, I'm not sure, but maybe we wouldn't have built as many things if we had all of the consolidation we have now. You wouldn't probably have a Lords and Boulevard or a downtown.
Well, and a lot of it was a handshake and I trust you, I'll give you a loan. So I was reading an article and it said something how my grandpa Jim, he brought the personal side of banking, of loans. You could just walk in and talk to him. He'd be sitting right to the right, at his desk, and so it was like, okay, it was a handshake thing, right. I've seen you around town.
There has to be something said, though, that what was First National Bank of Port Angeles grew into such a commodity that Seafirst wanted it.
Well, and I found out reading the comptroller's report on the sale that it had 75% of all deposits of Clown County and Jefferson County. So, that's
kind of a no-brainer if you're looking to buy into a bank.
Yeah,
right.
What was it, 186 million in total assets between all 4 banks? So that was
a thing then.
Yeah, so it wasn't a dying bank. It was.
So it shows your grandfather, and this bank held on.
Yeah,
it did very well. It stuck around.
Yep.
And kind of was a last of the survivors, so to speak, of the original
bigger banks.
hometown banks, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Correct, yeah. Handshake banks. Yep.
Handshake banks. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Fascinating stuff. I got to find a reason to come into Thurman so I can chat with you when I get updated on what your next bit is. What's the YouTube channel again? First
National History.
When it's the #1. First 1 ST National History. Do check it out. I've watched a couple of those, and go to Cody's doing a great job putting it all together. And I guess you're probably going, boy, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea these people were related to me.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I mean, it was because I've gotten pictures and I ride the bus a lot, so just showing people kind of the pictures and what have you, and kind of the first look on their faces, like, what are you riding the bus for?
Yep.
Yeah. So, but there's history, so might as well do it.
Yeah, it's a special place we live in, and those who've been here for a long time kind of get that, and it's good to preserve the history of that. Even the bank history is an important part.
Yeah, well, they always say follow the money.
Yeah,
so
always is.
I've kind of had it with these stockholders. Oh, well, look at these people. So, it's fun.
I have to say, I'm going to wrap it full circle in what you said at the beginning is the move out when you discovered this truck is the first time a Phillips hadn't lived on Cherry Hill for ever.
Yeah,
pretty much, right?
1920. Well, I want to say 1918.
So there's another little story about Port Angeles, right? There's
yeah.
always been a Phillips family member living on Cherry Hill.
At some one point or the other. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Cody, we'll get you back as you get further along in this as well. That email again?
firstnationalhistory@gmail.
Okay, firstnationalhistory@gmail. If you've got any snippets or any ideas.
Stories, I'd love to hear them, yep.
And
a lot of times it ties other stories together.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Fascinating. Good stuff. Thanks, Cody.
Thanks,
Cody
Todd.
Blevins, who's putting together a history of First National Bank of Port Angeles and kind of all of the tentacles that it extended into as well and just the general history of our area. And we're going to take a break and wrap things up on our show right after this.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
Have you ever clicked get a quote online and suddenly your phone acts like it owes someone money? 20 calls a day, numbers you've never seen, and not one of them local? I'm Dan Shappy with Farmers Insurance. If you're tired of mystery callers trying to sell you insurance, try something different. Talk directly to a real local agent who actually lives here. No robocalls, no strangers. We are real people helping real people right here at home.
We are farmers. Bum-ba-dum-bum-bum-bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Whether you're a homeowner, investor, or first-time buyer, understanding our market is essential. Here to provide a little insight on the local real estate market is May Graves.
Hi, May Graves here, realtor in the Sequim and Port Angeles area. How do realtors determine what buyers will potentially pay for your home? We use a variety of methods. One is called a CMA, or comparative market analysis, where we compare similar homes that were recently sold that are similar in age, size, location, and condition. We also consider things like seasonality and supply and demand. If your neighborhood usually sells 2 to 3 homes per month and there are 10 on the market, you can see how prices may have to come down. The opposite is true. If your neighborhood typically sells 2 to 3 homes per month and there are none on the market, you're in a great position to sell for top dollar in a hurry. If you want more information, call me, May Graves, 360-461-1922.
Need a new roof? Save big with Tri-State Roofing. For a limited time, mention promo code KONP50 and get 50% off new gutters with your new roof or 50% off a new skylight with your roof replacement. Protect your home with expert installation, quality materials, and a team you can trust. Financing available. Tri-State Roofing, 360-208-2222 and mention KONP50.
Tri-State Roofing, we got you covered.
Hi, this is Joe with Spudbreakers Baked and Loaded Spuds. We're all digging in Tuesday through Sunday with new late hours Friday and Saturday. Online orders and delivery available, or come to the trailer located on the corner of 8th and Lincoln, Port Angeles. Try our 2-pound overloaded spud or the new smoked beef brisket mac and cheese option, the one and done.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
Bad Boy is known for sporty design, uncompromising power, relentless innovation, and a signature attitude that is truly one of a kind. You'll find that same one-of-a-kind experience, as well as a large inventory of Bad Boy tractors and mowers here at home at Leitz Farm Supply and Equipment Sales. With cash pricing available and free Bad Boy implements to choose from, now is the time to shop the Bad Boy inventory at Leitz Farm Supply and Equipment Sales in Sequim. Some restrictions apply.
School buses are back on the roads, transporting our future leaders. Maintain a safe distance when they stop for pickups or drop-offs. Flashing red lights and extended stop arms mean kids are entering or leaving the bus. Let's create a shield of safety around them. Be patient, be vigilant, and help ensure a smooth and secure journey for all. Our commitment to caution protects precious lives. This message brought to you by all of us at Radio Pacific.
It's the Kiwanis Car Show and Chili Cook-Off this Saturday. Every year, the Kiwanis Club Car Show packs the fairground with classic cars, trucks, resto mods, imports, and motorcycles. There's a chili cook-off, too, so come enjoy the chili cook-off. Take a chance on over 30 raffle items. Gates open 9:30 this Saturday for the Kiwanis Club Car Show and Chili Cook-Off at the fairground.
Tickets are now on sale for Ribfest in Esquimalt, BC, September 11th, 12th, and 13th. Hop across the water and experience 6 different rivers, live music, local brews, and more. The Kids Zone is a favorite for those parents who want to let loose without losing their kids. The Taster Package with Black Ball Ferry Line includes ribs, shuttle, and ferry from only $79. Or upgrade to Feast Mode for only $20 more and enjoy all-inclusive food and drinks for 2 hours. Visit cohoferry.com for details.
Hey, Michaela, did you know Clallam County PUD offers help with energy bills?
Yes, our low-income energy assistance program provides monthly bill discounts to make energy costs more manageable.
And it's actually really easy to apply. You can do it online or stop by the PUD. No complicated process.
Plus, our team is here to help if you have questions along the way.
If your household income qualifies, this could make a real difference each month. Give us a call at 360-452-9771 or visit clallampud.net to learn more.
Bathfitter is celebrating over 42,000 installations in Western Washington. That's 42,000 bathrooms made safer, cleaner, and more stylish. Right now, get free installation and no interest financing for 24 months on the bathroom of your dreams. Custom fit tub and shower solutions installed in as little as 1 day with complete removal of your old setup, backed by a lifetime warranty. Visit bathfitternw.com for your free consultation. Special financing for qualified buyers only.
Looking for the perfect place to enjoy your next chapter? Come tour Lavender Meadows in Sequim, featuring beautiful, affordable homes for active 55-plus living. Enjoy modern, low-maintenance living, plus pickleball courts, a community garden, and clubhouse gatherings.
Hey folks, this is Courtney over at Lavender Meadows. We hope to see you soon to check out our 8 new floor plans. Don't forget to ask us about our lease-to-own options.
Come home to Lavender Meadows. Visit lavendermeadowsmhc.com.
Latinos have been here always, before, during, and after the founding of the United States. We are small business owners rising before dawn to power the economy. Hands that pick, manage, and prepare the food that nourishes America. Builders of our homes, our cities, our roads, our communities. Workers who labor daily to strengthen the very fabric of our nation. We are caregivers, teachers, doctors, engineers, neighbors, families raising the next generation. Latinos contribute over $4 trillion to America's GDP, bringing promise, innovation, and vitality to every corner of the U.S. We are the backbone, an indelible part of the American story. We are America. America is us. Learn more by going to americaisus.org and discover how Latinos have shaped America's journey and continue to forge its future.
The North Peninsula's news, the North Peninsula's talk. News Radio KONP, Port Angela Sequim, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Tributes are coming in following the death of Dolly Parton today. The country music legend was known for her lilting voice and soulful writing, including hits Jolene and also I Will Always Love You. Parton turned to acting, starring in 9 to 5, and expanded her empire to support charities. In 2023, ABC's Lindsay Davis sat down with Dolly and asked her about how she'd like to be remembered.
You ever think about what you'd want your legacy to be?
There's a lot of wonderful things that's happened to me. I think one of the things I'm proudest of is the Imagination Library. But of course, I'm a writer and a singer, and I'm in both
Songwriter Hall of Fame, you know, the big one, the country music, and the other one up there with the big guys. I'm just trying to leave as much stuff. I just want to see how much I can do in a lifetime. And I've been blessed, and I've been lucky, and I don't take any of that for granted, but I just wanted to be remembered well.
Dolly Parton was 80. The U.S. and Canada digging in on tariffs. Canada says it will match tariffs on U.S. goods starting September 8th. And in response to the U.S. 50% tariffs on Canadian imports in effect. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze on what it could cost Americans.
We just got a new estimate from the Yale Budget Lab. They say that in total, all of the tariffs, including the 50% tariffs on Canadian imports that the U.S. put in place, will cost the typical American household $1,100 per year. That is a notable number when you're thinking about the fact that households are already paying higher costs because of persistently high inflation on other goods and services.
Pennsylvania's health department says 2 people have died from measles, the first measles death in the state in 35 years. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro.
Both of the individuals were from Lancaster County, and both were unvaccinated. We hope and we pray that those deaths will be the last.
CDC shows a record number of measles cases nationally for a second straight year. You're listening to ABC News.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Plumbers, today will be a good day. You will be profitable. Your clients will be nice. No one will stand over you and tell you how to fix the thing they actually hired you to fix. You will also feel at peace after switching to Progressive, America's #1 commercial auto insurer. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, #1 commercial auto insurer from the NAIC's 2024 National Premium Data.
In the military, the mission was clear. You knew what to do. Now, the mission has changed. Stepping into civilian life isn't about finding a job. It's finding your purpose.
I wanted a career that would leverage the skills and discipline I gained in the military. IT just felt right.
My Computer Career offers class schedules that fit into your life and skills in high demand. Put your VA benefits to work. Visit mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to jumpstart your IT career today. An elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Thousands of people in Gary, Indiana are still without power today, nearly 2 weeks after severe storms tore through, downing power lines and trees. Some residents are dealing with dwindling food supplies at stores. Many areas still